Welcome, friends. 2 more days in this year, and tomorrow is Chiron's station, and then on the 30th, on Monday, the Capricorn New Moon. A new beginning just a day prior to New Year's. This is super good timing, I would call it. Anyway, that new moon in Capricorn is very, very beautiful and very powerful at the same time. The 10th degree of Capricorn, that is it's a very, very beautiful degree in the Sabian symbols. An albatross feeding from the hand of a sailor. The overcoming of fear and its rewards. And the key meaning is trust. So there is something of a trust into something greater than each of us and all of us. Some cosmic synchronicity, symmetry, something which holds everything together as a organism. That's literally what the whole universe is a huge organism. Everything is interrelated. Once we really get a taste of that on a deeply emotional level, that we are bound into some wonderful unfolding of a great story. Mercury here at the 4th house cusp. Mercury is super important because it's the chart ruler, with Virgo rising here in the global chart. The 21st degree of Virgo, by the way, which is a baseball team working together. That is the Sabian symbol, which shows it's a girls' baseball team, actually, to be exact. Physical training as a means to inculcate the feeling of participation in a collective culture, and then naturally the teamwork, working together as an organism with other people. That is very interesting with Mercury here in Sag in the 4th house. And actually just the day prior, I'm going to quickly jump backwards here. I will go back. This is Mercury tomorrow, the 29th, when Chiron is stationing, and we get to this chart in a minute. I just first want to show you the resonance here. 1712 Mercury is on the 29th, and that is just here 1736. You see very, very close on the other side of the plumb line. That's what this line is, the gravitational center. So the 3rd house, this is still the ability to conceive an idea of being able to communicate it at its best in the 3rd house in Sagittarius, with that real heartfelt intensity and passion for truth, I would call it. And with Mercury here pretty much in that same spot, then the Mars-Pluto opposition, which is just getting exact for the 2nd time, intensity. And there's some real, Mars as such goes, which is the symbol of our masculinity, means each one of us goes through some of a crisis, of a rebuild, how to express and live our sacred masculine, our ability to push and to make a stand, be strong, to be courageous, to dare to be seen and get into the arena, face the challenge. All of that is very Martian, has to do with our ability to confront life. So this is in progress. It's kind of, as I said in my last video, we are kind of in an cocoon right now in terms of Mars, particularly will be going on till February the 23rd. So this is a very intense time of remake, of digging deep into who we are. So the real event, as I say, the really powerful marker though is this Chiron station tomorrow. On the Mayan day reading is the rhythmic eagle, the blue rhythmic eagle. It is the ability to come from a place of overseeing the situation, of being able to focus in what matters. This is the power of vision, the power of recognition, you could also call it, and the number 6 is empowered by itself. And we are in the 13-day spread right now of Auk, which is the loyal heart. So this is a time to truly bond with other people on the affectionate level, that we care and even more are conscious of our kids, grandkids, but also to fulfill the dream of our ancestors. We are the ones in this physical universe incarnated right now. We are the ones who are the extensions of spirit, of the divine. We are its imprint here. We are the ones who are meant to act. That's basically what it boils down to. Now, Chiron, the wounded healer, has been a central theme of the whole year, going back to April the 8th, when there was a solar eclipse within minutes of Chiron. So this has been the theme of the year, and the unearthing of what's wrong, bringing it open into the sunlight, letting it be exposed and seen. That has been a deeply internal process in the last roughly 5 months, and from tomorrow on Chiron is turning forward again exactly at 1900, which is a super powerful degree too in the Sabian symbols. It is overcoming crisis through compassion. That is the conclusion. Let me read you the oracle here so you get the full picture. A young girl feeding birds in winter. Overcoming crisis through compassion. It is a place of true caring for your environment, for who lives in your vicinity, in your aura, because that's exactly, we are not just this physical body which ends at the skin, we are everything around it as well. That is completing, making us really complete. I mean, just think if you were lost in empty space, just a tiny dot of energy, nothing else around you, it would be pretty darn depressive. So anyway, that's really the richness of life, the richness of who we are, that we are everything around us. The more we understand that, that's where compassion comes in, and that is the big theme which we are working on individually and collectively, to understand that the insanity of violence and war in particular, all these social concept of what is allowed, we have really to question all of that. That is the phase we are getting into. Beautiful here, the 29th degree of Taurus with Uranus in the 9th house and Sedna here right top and center in this chart, actually even strengthened by Pelion. Pelion is the mountain. Whenever that little Centaur planet, it is bonds with an energy, makes it stronger, gives it roots in that sense. Sedna being the vault of history in a very literal way, coming back from a 13,000 or 11,000 year cycle, something like that, and having all that deep information hidden within its belly. And now in Gemini, just since last year, these next 30 years, that's about how much it takes for Sedna to traverse that sign. For 30 years, it will all be communicated and brought out into the open. So there's a lot of that exploration into unknown worlds which are really coming to the surface, and naturally also within ourselves. We are an unknown world to ourselves, you could say, in many ways. The nodes are here at the very first, actually in the 2nd degree here still of the cardinal cross, cardinal signs. The nodes are moving backwards, as you know, so we are coming into the very first degree of the zodiac right at the beginning of the new year. This is a super important and powerful moment before we are diving back down into the depth of Pisces and Virgo. Really, it's like the nodes, as they go backwards, they have to do with the unwinding in a way. It is undoing things in many ways. So we are really at the end of a 360-degree journey over the last 18 years or so of undoing, and this comes to its conclusion in a way before on January the 11th the nodes dive into Pisces. We get there. I have this chart lined up for you too. Just wanted first to give you the bigger story. So the moon, also in Sagittarius, together with Mercury, as we mentioned already, in this power position right on the new moon's route. But the moon also in Sag, actually at the galactic center, 27 and 11 minutes is it exactly. This is showing that we are emotionally supported by the galactic frequency, by what really surpasses our four-dimensional time-space continuum, something which takes us yet to another level. Literally, the galactic level is very spiritual, very all-inclusive, and because if you look from the galactic center, then even the whole solar system is boiled down to one single dot. Short before new moon again, just to emphasize that once more, that time before new moon is particularly deep and rich. It's also that coming back from its 28-day or 30-day cycle, the moon is coming back to the sun, has the energy of an old wise woman, having been going through all the many stages from birth, and is now ready to literally disappear again into new moon, to be reborn. It is that energy of deep insight, and actually it has a prophetic angle to it. We might be really being in that place where the veil between worlds is opening to some degree, and we see really where things are going. Also the Virgo rising again, exactly as we have in the new moon chart a day later. Virgo, the sign of caring, of also of that harvest moment of bringing things to a conclusion, to a culmination, to a precision, perfection, all of that. And again, to say it once more, Mercury is the ruling planet. And it is really all about that thirst for higher knowledge, and that's what Sagittarius truly brings. It opens our eyes to a greater horizon, and naturally if you see a greater horizon, you're really all these question marks are starting to bubble up. You want to know, you want to expand your reality. That's the Sagittarius energy, very, very strongly. So let's see, what are the charts I have lined up here. Just to give you a little sequence, I won't go as deep into every one of those, but just to show you the sequence of events which are coming in these next 15 days, and it's quite dense, as you will see. So just on the 2nd of January, Nessus and Orcus have their last opposition, which started in 2017, and this last one here in January 2025 is number 17, and these two are here. I'm just pointing them out for you. Orcus here in the middle of Virgo, and here is Nessus in the middle of Pisces. So this is an interesting duo, and they are in many ways responsible. Well, I'm just saying it that way. Don't forgive me, it's not really what I mean, but they are a mirror. I guess that's much better said. Yes, take that back. And anyway, so they're a mirror of what we were going through in these years between roughly the center point 2020 to 2022, and we had that entrance between 2017 and 2020 when the energy was building up, and actually it already back then was quite a wild scene, and this is now tapering out. That's the good news. We're at the tail end now. Nessus is the pathological energy which has to be seen, has to be looked up at, which is literally that very dark shadow part of the non-self. And Orcus is the one which is able to absorb, to alchemically transmute these energies. But before the transmutation can happen, naturally the exposure has to happen. It's always that way. That is the opposition. Orcus belongs to the family of Pluto, a force of the underworld, who has that deep connection to collective remodeling and reframing the whole of reality in a way. And Nessus over here. So this is their 17th, and now what is, aside from just this happening at the very beginning of the year, kind of bringing our last final focus onto what this will manifest as. With the Aquarian moon here, this will definitely be a social experience in some way or other. Also Venus in here and Pluto now and Ceres in the 4th house. So it has something to do with creating a situation which brings people together and makes them appreciate home and harmony and that kind of more very local environment and being there for your neighbors, for one another. That's what I read out of that. I mean, with the sun in that moment when this last opposition is activated, is approaching the opposition of Hades. Actually, I started using Hades again. As you see, there's some new symbols in here. These are Uranian planets. I incorporated 4 of them: Hades, Kronos, Zeus, and Vulcan. Vulcanus is here. I will, as time goes, say more about those. So Hades is very difficult energies, like, yeah, you name it, famine and hunger and suffering, all of that. So there's an indication already here that yes, this will be maybe a last kind of more difficult experience we have to go through collectively through the next few weeks. That's what I kind of would say, and I got into that a bit more in detail in my last video. But the center point will be early February. It will definitely start getting quite rocky already around mid-January. We're building up to something. Also, you see that's the degree where Mars stationed, where Mars turned retrograde, another indication that this chart holds quite some power. The same geometry as this chart. That's why I am getting the impression this is a very powerful chart, very important. It was also when the nodes changed into those cardinal hexagrams they're in right now. I'll just quickly show you. I haven't opened that chart, but for those of you who are using the gene keys, the segments, the 64 hexagrams make over the zodiac. Again, for those of you new to this concept, this is from the human design systems channelings. So you see the same geometry when on December 4 the nodal axis, it's pretty small here, 350 to 30, that was the cutoff point, going backwards into the first degrees. Anyway, it just indicates that this is definitely a theme, a chord which is struck in these 7 to 8 weeks, and it will be repeated in other strong, powerful charts which I don't have lined up right now, but we're getting to that. It's a build-up, a gradual build-up. So again, Mercury here in the center of this important chart, actually exactly within minutes of the galactic center alignment. That is when Mars, by retrogradation, will go back into Cancer on the 6th of January. Here 29, just has crossed over back into Cancer, where it will go backwards further into the end of February, and then naturally starting slowly to move forward again. So Mars will still be in Cancer into late spring. let me just give you the exact date, then you know. Till April 19. Yes, that's quite a long stretch. Now, this chart again speaks of how Mars will express in these next 3+ months through the sign of Cancer, which is again that caring element, very strongly family oriented, helping out one another, giving support, all of that. And this chart again has Mercury so powerfully placed. It is that divine inspiration which now comes into play, where we intuitively know what is the right thing to do, where we do not excessively think, but just be inspired by a greater vision. And this chart is super beautiful. Also the moon here in the 10th degree of Aries, actually between Chiron and Neptune. So this is a phase of literally reorientation and looking at things from a much more spiritual and healing angle. And that 10th degree of Aries is again, I mean, how could it be otherwise, a super positive frequency. It's a teacher giving new symbolic forms to traditional images. And the couple sentences I copied out of this, I wanted to read them for you. Right. It's the revision of attitude. The ability to abstract something, to see beyond its more obvious or first level meaning. Reformulate a new level, much that had been taken for granted. And a new dimension of consciousness is discovered, revealing higher possibilities of experiences and mental development. And the moon is not just here in this powerful degree by itself, it's accompanied by Okiroi. That's another one of the Centaur family, which seems to just be a megaphone in hiking up the importance of whatever it touches. And Salacia, that beautiful energy of having a spiritual experience of reality. It's when you're mesmerized by the reflections of the sunlight on a lake, on water, and it is that interplay of water and fire, of earth and heaven. There's something deeply I'm really missing the right word. It's a wonderful, sweet energy of attunement with what is. So this is all coming in, and this is the theme of the next 3 months, roughly 3.5 months. So despite of all the upheaval and difficulties which are definitely going to be thrown at us, as I repeat myself, anywhere between mid-January to end of February, with the most intense phase being the first half of February. Yeah, the galactic center here at the 10th house cusp. I mean, this cannot be understated. It's again that aligning of some higher dimensions, literally. Really breaking the case open and not anymore being so dependent and reliant on that four-dimensional setup around us, but really knowing there's some plug-in which is of much greater force in the end. It's just a matter of not getting caught in the lower frequencies, just seeing that these transmutations are opening us in a much greater way. It's worth the sacrifice. If it's for a good reason, then it's definitely worth it. That is the attitude many of us are coming towards. See Neptune here in this super powerful placements right at the ascendant. It's all about intuition and feeling your way through. And Neptune happens to be in a pretty dark place by itself here in the final line of hexagram 36, darkening of the light. So we are in a final phase in many ways. You see now, by now, the nodes have come into the very first degree of the zodiac. Let's see what else I have lined up for you. So this is the 6th of January, then the 11th. Now the nodes shift from Aries to Pisces, here. And naturally from Libra into Virgo. That is an immense evolutionary change of direction. It is literally, as I said earlier already, a new beginning of entering a whole new 18-year phase of unwinding. And the very first planet to meet is Neptune. So Neptune bringing with it all that rich experience through the last 165 years or so. This is a culmination phase, absolutely. And I already pointed out that when these two meet exactly, that is tying into a couple other of powerful charts. I mean, this really shows the significance of what this Neptunian frequency has this in becoming more accessible to everyone. It's kind of really, the boundaries are melting down in a very rapid way. It's like a glacier melting away. I mean, this is beautiful. Venus here at the part of fortune in Pisces. Yes, it is about, once again, of compassion and universal love. the deep knowing that we are all connected, all deep down are brothers and sisters, and everybody you see, just look at the person and think of how they were as a child, and really reach them at that level of innocence and of understanding. Yes, there's many layers of conditioning we each of us have received on this path of separation, which is the path to realize the value of togetherness. First we have to go to the extreme other side. That's where we definitely have gone and come from. Anyway, this is a really reunification in its best, that Pisces North Node for the next 18 months, way into 2026. Then there's the Cancer full moon on the 13th, 2 days later, and how about that? A cardinal cross, yes, something totally new has kicked in. A new master has entered the house in a way, and it is about to twist the whole ship around in a new direction. That's what this coming full moon will initiate. And then a day after, we have the second of 3 Mars occultations. That is when Mars is disappearing behind the moon for a while, and actually the first one was in December 18, second one on January 14, and the third one on February the 9th. The central one of January the 14th can be viewed from Canada and the other northern countries. I just show you the map. That's actually the only of the 3 which can be seen. Here it is. That is the window of observation. Also Canada, the US, Mexico, and parts of Africa, and then all over the Atlantic Ocean. So this is kind of it's always interesting to watch then over the next 4-6 weeks if any of these areas feel a stronger effect of that retrograde Mars, that Mars in crisis, literally. That is January the 14th. An interesting degree, they have their meeting at the 27th of Cancer. Again, I want to read that degree, and I have to find it here, because a day or 2 after, in that very same degree, Mars will be starting a new synodic cycle. That is Mars being exactly on the other side of us, or in other words, Earth exactly between Sun and Mars. That's really what it is. The Earth is moving faster, is taking over Mars, who's kind of a bit farther out if we look at it from the Sun's perspective. So anyway, this is always a new beginning when Sun, Earth and Mars are lined up at the center of the retrograde period, starting a new synodic cycle. That's what the astronomical word is for it, for that mutual cycle between Sun, Earth and Mars. So the 27th degree of Cancer, it is in both cases, and both times we have Scorpio rising. Now the 27th degree of Cancer reads: a violent storm in a canyon filled with expensive homes. That's kind of ominous. It's a confrontation with a social upheaval demanding the reconsideration of static values. Here we are again. First we have to really be pushed into a difficult situation to reconnect with our hearts and with our deeply human nature of helping one another, assisting, being there for one another. That string of compassion, it really seems that is the only way this can be. We can override all the programming and all the layers of what usually prevents people from seeing everyone as their child, basically, as their brother, sister, you name it. Anyway, you get the picture, and it's beautiful that there is this trine here, and here we have again the 21st degree of Pisces. Remember, that is where the new moon had its, or will have its ascendant, descendant, that is anchoring the energy of these 4 coming weeks. And whatever is here the character of that phase will be brought into full limelight with the Mars occultation. Very powerful event, naturally. Also I mean, this is a very interesting stellium. Hades, Kronos, Hades again, that is the real dark shadow of human life, prisons and castaway and deep depression. Kronos is pretty much exactly the opposite, and it is interesting that the two are coming together. They both move very slowly. Kronos is all the divine, beautiful, honorable, and in that sense royal energies. Beautiful combination, the two. And Vulcanus is raw energy, raw physical energy in many ways. And it is interesting that Mars had its station around Vulcanus, really soaked up that energy. So there's something there in the tube. It's obvious. So yeah, I mentioned the Scorpionic degrees both time here. The moon in Leo, the sun here lining up with Pluto. So there is this deep wish for truth and integrity, also coming in through the degree. The sun is here at the line of hexagram 61, inner truth, which is that ability to directly pierce through the center to see what matters. Naturally, Mars on the other end, hexagram 62, still 62, which is smallness in excess, that is love for the detail. Then yes, I guess we stop here at this point, because then we're really starting to get into deep waters. This is kind of the preparation phase into that. So really the best thing we can help this transition, I want to say a few more words on that, is to tune into our heart, into our creativity, and knowing that everything that happens is meant to happen anyway, and it will be it will create an opening for something totally new to enter this world. And whatever the price is, it's absolutely worth all the difficult situations and people who will be suffering. Certainly there's many of those. We have our deep compassion with those, and at the deepest level these people have chosen to come in for that service, to be there as the ones who would be at the front lines, and through their experience open the eyes of many, many, many others, being the forerunners, really the ones who truly are the heroes really of this huge transformation. They are giving their lives away, many of them. We have to honor that, and we have to be deeply thankful that whatever situation we personally will be experiencing these gargantuous changes through, it is to be grateful and thankful for what we are given the opportunity to contribute to something of beyond our wildest imaginations, a world of abundance, peace, creativity and beauty. Thank you, and see you again.